moving maze. This week's adjustments. So for people who don't know, we're making this game, Moving Maze, where you play as Caroline the Cow. It's a mobile game, and you're going to swipe through this maze with these different layers. Right now we have a small, medium, and large layer, and you try to get to the end of the maze as it's spinning you around. It spins you around based off of how many steps you've taken. So what's been going on this week? After playtesting the game, I've noticed that the procedural generation isn't working the way that I'd like it to. And I've had some comments about the value contrast. And that the game in-game just looks like a giant green blob, and you can't tell the difference between the board and the static background, to the degree that it doesn't pop on screen. And then finally, we're now moving into the community art template and trying to figure out a way to make a system for people to participate in the game by making the playable assets. So first off, with the maze recognition, some of the shorts that I've posted, I've said that I don't like the 180-degree turns because they're boring. But I've realized that, and I think this is my fault, I set up certain constraints that are now causing the procedural generation to procedurally generate the medium-sized tiles the same way over and over and over again, which is just at the corners. And they have to move on the axis a little bit more. Also, another problem is the small tiles. They're being randomly generated, but they're doing a little too good of a job randomly generating, where there's no distinguishable shapes being made. I think it would help players understand, it would help me understand one maze from the other if the small tiles made geometric shapes. Another problem is in the bonus mazes, the empty tiles are spawning too close together, and we were planning on adding a different feature for the empty tiles, where those empty tiles would become portals and you would use them to move around the board quickly. Either it would help you or hinder you. The art submissions. So I found this really great 3D artist who is helping to make a far more complex template. Now, I didn't know how to do this. Before, our version was very crude. Now we're having a 3D model made, unwrapping the 3D model to have a UV layout so that people can color in each section, and it wraps around the character, and the three-dimensionality pops far more. This way we don't have to rely so much on artists or people in general understanding how to make an illusion. It was just getting very complicated in the crude way that we were moving towards it, the art. Something else that has come about because of working with this 3D artist is having the flowers not being flat and standing up on stems. That way it creates a little bit more depth, but also it adds another axis, a vertical axis, that we can use to help to further distinguish layers and tile sets from one another. So we were thinking about having so the purple tile is a 2x2 tile, and we were planning on having the purple flowers be shorter than the yellow flowers, which is a part of the 4x4 tile. Is this going to be an effective system? I don't necessarily know. We're going to have to try it out. but in my head it seems like it will work. Value contrast. Uh, when the when the game stands alone by itself and I post videos about it, it doesn't really get as much attention as when I frame it. Now, I don't know if that's a situation of the game will always need to be framed, advertisements will always need to frame the product, or if that speaks to something, a greater problem. About because of my dad telling me that he thinks that it looks like a green blob, which is a valid problem. And the solution is to raise or lower the value of the background. But where this becomes a problem for me is the cost and logistics of working to have this value contrast function only relative to the artwork that we have right now. Or is this a system of, in the template that with the UV layout, devising a specific palette for people to be able to reference so that their color choices work better when they're actually trying to color in the forms. You can see the top image here with the lighter background most certainly helps the maze pop out. So it may be a situation that just has to be addressed. This visual polish phase is very important. It's going to take longer than just one phase. It's going to be something that's going to be hashed out over time. And as we collect more information from the works that people submit, we'll be able to further alter the visuals in order to make the most impact, not only from an advertisement standpoint, but also for the individuals who are submitting so that they can see an end product that they're happy with.